They say hell hath no fury like a woman scorned. But what happens when that woman is Tiny Harris? And the betrayal comes from someone she once called her sister. The internet is an absolute meltdown tonight after a viral clip surfaced showing Tiny physically attacking Shekinah Joe in what fans are calling one of the most shocking celebrity meltdowns of the year. But this isn't just a fight. It's the fallout of a secret that was never supposed to see daylight. Because sources are whispering that Shekinah wasn't just betraying Tiny's trust. She was allegedly having a secret affair with Ty. And when Tiny found out, let's just say the cameras didn't miss a single second of what came next. The clip spread faster than wildfire. Punches screaming chaos. And by the end of the night, blue lights were flashing, cuffs were clicking, and Tiny Harris was under arrest. Was it rage, heartbreak, or years of buried betrayal exploding in public view? Nobody knows for sure, but one thing's clear. The Queen of Calm just snapped, and the whole world is watching. Tonight on Gossip Spill Vibe, we break down every second of the fight, the footage, and the affair that burned everything down. It always starts with a secret, a quiet rumor buried under fake smiles, filtered selfies, and those sister for life captions that age like milk. Tiny Harris and Shekinah Joe weren't just friends, they were family by choice. Their friendship was built on loyalty, laughter, and long nights defending each other online against every rumor Atlanta could throw. But somewhere between loyalty and lies, a different kind of love started growing, one that had nothing to do with friendship, because behind closed doors, behind the glam and giggles, Shekinah was allegedly getting closer to someone she never should have touched. T. It started innocently, or at least that's what Shekinah told herself. Late night talks with T about business, laughter that lasted too long, messages that didn't sound like friends. Tiny trusted her, let her in the house, left her alone around her husband, never imagining the woman doing her hair would one day undo her marriage. But secrets have a smell, and this one was starting to stink. Tiny had been hearing whispers for weeks. Stylists talking too softly when she walked into rooms. Producers changing topics when her name came up. She ignored it at first. Denial is easier when the truth feels like humiliation waiting to happen. Then came the phone. That one text. A message Tiny wasn't supposed to see. It wasn't explicit, just enough to make her stomach twist. A nickname, an inside joke, a heart emoji that didn't belong. Tiny stared at the screen for a long time, trying to convince herself it was a misunderstanding. But deep down she knew. The tone, the timing, the energy. It wasn't business. It was betrayal. She didn't explode right away. Tiny isn't the type to scream first and think later. She played it cool. For days, she smiled in public, posted selfies, even filmed content with Shekinah like nothing had changed. But inside, something was boiling. Every laugh felt fake. Every compliment sounded rehearsed. She started replaying every memory, every private moment, wondering when the switch flipped, when her sister became her competition. And then, like every modern tragedy, it happened in public. The confrontation wasn't planned. It was fate with perfect timing. Tiny showed up at an industry event already on edge. Shekinah was there looking unbothered, loud, smiling. That same loud smile that used to make people love her, but now made Tiny's blood run cold. Someone said something. Nobody remembers what. And just like that, years of love turned into violence. Eyewitnesses say Tiny walked straight towards Shekinah. No hesitation, no warning. She didn't shout. She didn't even blink. She just moved. And what happened next became the clip that would drown the internet. Shekinah tried to talk, tried to calm her down, but Tiny wasn't listening. She shoved her once, twice, hard enough to make the crowd gasp. Then chaos. Phones came out instantly, flashes, screams, security running, and somewhere in the middle of it all, one phone caught the perfect angle. In the footage, you can hear Shekinah screaming, "You don't understand! It's not what you think," while Tiny's voice cuts through the noise, sharp and trembling. "You are in my house." It's the kind of clip that freezes the timeline. Raw, shocking, too real to look away. And by the time security pulled Tiny back, the damage was done. The video had already hit Twitter. Within an hour, the hashtag started trending. Tinyverse, Shekinah, TI video, friendship gone fatal. The internet thrives on chaos. And this was chaos served fresh. Blogs reposted it. Fans dissected every frame. Gossip pages slowed it down and zoomed in, analyzing who threw the first push. Everyone had an opinion, but nobody had the truth. And that's exactly what made it addictive. Tiny went home that night silent. Her team begged her to stay off social media, but her pride wouldn't let her hide. She posted a black and white photo of herself with a caption, "Sometimes you got to lose your mind to find your peace." It was cryptic enough to make people wonder, bold enough to keep the story alive. Meanwhile, Shekinah went live in tears, showing scratches on her arm, saying she never touched T, never betrayed anyone. But the more she talked, the guiltier she looked. Anonymous sources started sliding into DMs of gossip bloggers, claiming they'd seen text messages, screenshots, even photos of Shekinah at a hotel where T.I. was staying during tour rehearsals. None of it could be proven, but in the age of the internet, proof doesn't matter. The narrative does. Fans started dragging Shekinah, calling her a snake, a backstabber, the ultimate hypocrite. Old clips resurfaced where she called Tiny her day one. Suddenly, those words looked like setup lines in a movie with a tragic ending. By morning, the clip had been viewed over 10 million times across platforms. Brands started distancing themselves. PR statements were drafted, and everyone close to the trio stayed silent except one voice, T.I.'s. He broke his silence in a single tweet. "I ain't got time for gossip. Y'all believe what you want." Simple, dismissive, classic damage control. But fans weren't buying it. They flooded his mentions asking for clarity, demanding to know if the rumors were true. He didn't respond. He didn't have to. His silence became the answer. Behind the scenes, things were worse. Police reports were filed within hours. Security footage was reviewed. Tiny's team tried to argue it was a misunderstanding, that she'd only defended herself after Shekinah got aggressive. But eyewitnesses said otherwise. One described it as a full attack. Another claimed Tiny yelled, "I warned you!" right before pushing Shekinah into a table. The details blurred with retelling, but the core never changed. Tiny lost control, and it was all caught on camera. The arrest came quietly, but not privately. Early morning, flashing lights outside her gated home, paparazzi stationed like vultures. She was taken into custody for assault and disorderly conduct. The mugshot hit the internet before she even made bail. And in that photo, messy hair, blank stare, smeared makeup, the calm, composed Tiny Harris looked unrecognizable. It was the face of a woman who'd finally snapped. Her fans were torn. Some defended her, saying any woman would lose it after finding out her friend betrayed her with her husband. Others called her dangerous, immature, proof that fame can't fix broken trust. The internet turned it into a morality war. Team Tiny versus Team Shekinah. Memes flooded TikTok. Parody videos hit YouTube. Even celebrities started weighing in. One reality TV star tweeted, "You can't trust nobody in this industry, not even your bestie." The drama had become cultural commentary overnight. Meanwhile, Shekinah wasn't done talking. She released a tearful statement, saying she forgave Tiny, but the damage was irreversible. "I still got love for her," she said through sobs, "but I can't unsee what she did to me. I didn't sleep with nobody's man." Some believed her, most didn't. Screenshots of alleged texts between her and T started popping up. Everywhere. Half fake, half convincing, nobody could tell the difference anymore. The internet's appetite for destruction had been fed, but not satisfied. Fans began demanding the full video, the uncut version. Pages claimed to have it, trading clout for followers. One anonymous account even dropped an extended clip, showing Tiny being restrained while yelling, "Tell him what you did." That line became the headline, the meme, the mantra. It confirmed what people already wanted to believe, that the fight was about tea, that love had turned into war, that loyalty had finally met its breaking point. And just like that, a friendship that once symbolized support and sisterhood became the latest cautionary tale about fame, trust, and betrayal. Tiny's world was collapsing. Her marriage, her public image, her brand. But she didn't care about any of that in that moment. All she could think was how someone she fed, protected, and defended could be the same person that brought her to this point. The clip kept spreading. News outlets picked it up. TikTokers reenacted it. Podcasts debated it. The incident had gone from a messy fight to a cultural event. And somewhere in the chaos, Tiny sat in a holding cell, silent, staring at the wall, replaying everything. This was no longer about friendship or love. It was about power, humiliation, and the price of exposure. The same internet that once adored her was now dissecting her downfall in real time. But Tiny wasn't done yet. The arrest might have humbled her for the night, but behind that quiet, something darker was forming. Something that was about to shake Atlanta all over again. The morning after Tiny's arrest, Atlanta felt different. The city that once praised her poise now whispered her name like a warning. Every radio host, gossip blogger, and podcast had the same headline. Tiny Harris arrested after violent attack on Shekinah Joe. The footage was everywhere, slowed down, replayed, analyzed frame by frame. Some said she'd finally snapped. Others said she was framed. Nobody agreed on facts, but everyone agreed on one thing. This was the fall of a queen. Tiny's PR team scrambled to spin the story. They said she was provoked that Shekinah had crossed a line too deep to ignore. But leaked police documents told another story. The report described visible injuries on Shekinah's face and arms, multiple witnesses, and a recorded verbal confession caught by a bystander's phone. The word assault was in bold ink. Once that report hit TMZ, there was no saving the image Tiny had built for decades. Inside the studio, T refused interviews. His silence screamed guilt. He had always played the role of comm protector, but this time even his fans turned. One anonymous insider claimed Tiny had discovered messages between him and Shekinah just hours before the attack. Flirty, risky, undeniable. That same source claimed Tiny confronted him first, throwing a glass across their kitchen before storming out. It wasn't rage without reason. It was heartbreak looking for somewhere to land. And unfortunately, it landed on Shekinah. Shekinah, meanwhile, turned her pain into a platform. She filmed a live video from her couch, face swollen, voice shaking, saying, "I didn't steal nobody's man. I got blamed for loving people too real." The comments exploded, half sympathy, half suspicion. Some fans called her brave, others called her a liar, with crocodile tears. But one comment stood out, pinned and viral. If she didn't do it, why is she crying so hard? The internet has no empathy, only appetite. By noon, more footage leaked. A new angle showed Tiny screaming, "You think I wouldn't find out?" before swinging her purse at Shekinah. The audio was raw, painful, human. You could hear betrayal in every syllable. That clip hit 10 million views before lunch. TikTokers reenacted it, comedians parodied it, and talk shows turned it into a segment about toxic friendship dynamics. It wasn't just gossip anymore. It was entertainment. Meanwhile, the Harris family's lawyer held a press conference outside the courthouse saying, "We expect full transparency from the authorities and fairness in the process." The statement sounded polished, rehearsed, meaningless. But reporters didn't care about fairness. They cared about views. They pressed for answers about the affair rumor. The lawyer smiled tight and said, "No comment." That was all it took. Every no comment is an admission to the internet. Tiny posted bail that evening, stepping out in oversized shades and silence. Cameras flashed. Fans screamed, but she didn't speak. Her hands trembled slightly as she got into the car, and that tiny detail, one shake, became a headline of its own. Tiny trembles leaving jail. Every movement was now evidence. Every breath analyzed. She wasn't a person anymore. She was a narrative. That night, Shekinah dropped screenshots. DMs, allegedly from T.I. One read, "You know, she'll never find out." Another said, "I trust you." Fans went feral. Whether they were real or edited didn't matter. The screenshots matched the story people already wanted to believe. The betrayal wasn't theory anymore. It was confirmation bias wrapped in pixels. Within minutes, Shekinah tits started trending. Tiny's name disappeared from the top of charts, replaced by Shekinah's live sobbing replay. T finally broke his silence, not with words, but with music. He dropped a snippet on Instagram of an unreleased track titled, "Secrets Ain't Safe." The caption said, "Art imitates life." That was it. The comments turned into chaos. People called it confession disguised as marketing. Others said it was disrespect. Whatever it was, it reignited the fire Tiny's team was desperately trying to smother. Behind closed doors, the couple's mansion turned into a battleground of PR agents, lawyers, and family. Tiny wanted to issue a public apology. Her team refused, saying guilt admission would ruin her brand deals. "You say sorry, they own you," one manager told her. But the guilt was eating her alive. She felt betrayed twice, by Shekinah's actions and by her own hands. She'd become the villain in a story she didn't start. Then came the audio leak. A voice note, allegedly Tiny's crying and saying, "I can't believe she did that to me." The clip spread like perfume in a crowded room. Everyone caught a whiff. Everyone repeated it. But that wasn't the real problem. The real problem was the second half of the recording, where she muttered, "I warned her, I really did." That line hit like a confession. Public opinion split down the middle. Some said she was justified, a wife defending her marriage. Others said, violence is violence. Even celebrities chimed in. One reality star tweeted, "Friend or not, you don't swing on nobody, period." Another wrote, "Shekinah crossed lines you don't cross." The drama wasn't just trending, it was dividing an industry. By day 3, rumors swirled that the network behind their old reality show was considering a reunion special. Producers saw opportunity in tragedy. They called it Healing Atlanta. Tiny's rep rejected it immediately, calling it exploitation. But the irony was rich. The same machine that built them was now salivating over their downfall. Shekinah's new interview dropped next. Sitting across from a talk show host, face calm, but eyes burning, she said, "I didn't steal nobody's husband. I got accused because I was convenient." She paused just long enough to let that sting. And Tiny, she's not the woman y'all think she is. The clip broke the internet again. Tiny's fans attacked her. Shekinah's fans defended her. And neutral viewers just grabbed popcorn. Meanwhile, Atlanta police confirmed the case was still under investigation. That phrase alone fueled 100 YouTube videos, each claiming inside sources and exclusive leaks. One anonymous blog posted that there was security footage from the venue showing T escorting Shekinah to her car earlier that night. Whether real or doctored, it became gospel. The timeline shifted. Maybe Tiny's attack wasn't spontaneous. Maybe it was calculated. Tiny's silence was both her shield and her curse. Every day she said nothing. Said nothing. The internet filled the blanks for her. Fan theories multiplied. Some claimed she planned the attack after tracking T's phone. Others said she hired someone to leak the fight to gain sympathy. The truth didn't matter anymore. In the age of virality, perception is truth. But in private, Tiny wasn't plotting. She was unraveling. She stopped eating, stopped answering calls. Her closest friend said she just sat by the window, replaying that night in her head, whispering, "I just wanted her to admit it." That was the tragedy. She didn't want revenge, just validation. But in trying to prove betrayal, she became the betrayer of her own peace. Then the biggest twist dropped. A journalist claimed to have obtained a private message exchanged between T.I. and a publicist, apparently confirming he'd been seeing Shekinah for months. The leak was explosive, but it came with a catch. The journalist refused to release proof unless paid. Within hours, fake screenshots filled the void. Nobody knew what was real anymore, but the narrative hardened. Tiny's anger was no longer shocking. It was relatable. She wasn't crazy. She was heartbroken. Still, heartbreak doesn't erase handcuffs. Her case was scheduled for hearing. Fans began rallying behind Usher Free Tiny. Petitions circulated. Some said she shouldn't face charges for a crime of passion. Others demanded accountability. Even Shekinah's supporters started cracking, admitting if she really slept with T, she kind of earned that hit. The moral lines blurred, until nobody could tell right from wrong. Through it all, one thing stayed constant: views. Every update broke another million. Every rumor turned into currency. The internet had turned pain into profit. And Tiny, whether she liked it or not, was the main attraction. As night fell again, she finally posted something new. A photo of a broken mirror with a caption, "Everything I saw was a reflection of what I feared." It was haunting. It was poetic. And it was the perfect setup for what came next. Because while the world thought this was the end, Tiny was already planning her next move. The days following Tiny's cryptic post were the calm before a different kind of storm. Everyone thought she'd finally gone silent, that the case would play out quietly in court while the internet moved on. But silence is never the end in Atlanta. It's the setup. Because just when people began forgetting, a brand new leak dragged the entire city back into the chaos. It started with a 2-minute clip, uploaded anonymously, to a gossip page called ATL Receipts. The video was grainy, clearly shot on a phone, but the audio was sharp enough to make hearts drop. You could hear Tiny's voice, tense and trembling, saying, "You made me look stupid for the whole world." Then came Shekinah's voice pleading, "I didn't mean for it to happen." The sound of something crashing followed, and then the screen went black. The clip went viral in less than an hour. It was undeniable proof of confrontation before the attack, the kind that could destroy any legal defense. Hashtags exploded again, talk shows picked it up, and legal analysts started debating whether Tiny had just ruined her own case. Fans were torn between sympathy and shock. The same people who once defended her were now asking if she'd crossed a line that couldn't be forgiven. Inside her home, Tiny watched the clip in silence. She didn't flinch. Her lawyer told her to stay quiet, but the weight of being painted as a monster was too heavy. She opened her phone, scrolled through the hate comments, and whispered, "They don't know what she did." It wasn't anger anymore. It was exhaustion. Years of friendship, betrayal, and heartbreak condensed into a single public humiliation. Meanwhile, Shekinah capitalized on the moment. She appeared on a popular podcast, tears glistening, saying she wanted peace, but needed justice. "I didn't press charges because I wanted to heal," she said. "But now I see healing don't happen when the truth is buried." Her tone was soft, but her message was clear. The internet turned the clip into sympathy fuel. Fans flooded her page with support, calling her the survivor of friendship betrayal. Brands reached out. She booked interviews. The victim narrative sold fast. But then another twist landed. A blog dropped alleged screenshots, showing Shekinah bragging about getting paid to tell her story. The messages looked messy, but believable enough to spark doubt. Suddenly, people weren't so sure she was innocent. Is this about justice or attention? One comment read, "Everybody milking the mess for money." Another said, "It was a digital tough war, truth versus clout, and both women were losing." Tiny's team saw the opening and struck back. They released an official statement claiming new evidence proving Shekinah's affair with T. The statement hinted at private messages, voice recordings, and unreleased footage from before the incident. It didn't confirm the details, but it was enough to reignite suspicion for the internet. That was all it took. Shekinah Exposed started trending before noon. The next day, an unverified Twitter account dropped a 30-second audio clip of T.I. allegedly confessing that he and Shekinah crossed a line once. The voice matched his. The tone was low, apologetic. Whether it was real didn't matter. It spread like wildfire. Every gossip blog reposted it. Every fan reacted. And every headline screamed the same thing. Ty confesses. Tiny didn't say a word, but her silence this time sounded like satisfaction. Shekinah denied everything, saying the audio was AI generated. But by then, no one cared about authenticity. The scandal had evolved beyond truth. People weren't watching for facts. They were watching for the next twist. And Tiny, knowingly or not, had become the face of justified chaos. Court proceedings began quietly. Cameras weren't allowed, but leaks filled the gaps. Reporters claimed Tiny looked calm, detached, almost eerily composed. One said she stared straight ahead while her attorney read out details of the assault, only blinking when Shekinah's name was mentioned. That stillness became iconic. Fans called it the Queen's gaze. Memes painted her as a woman who'd already served her sentence in silence. When the verdict finally came, it wasn't as severe as anyone expected. Tiny was sentenced to community service, probation, and mandatory anger management sessions. No jail time. The internet erupted again. Some celebrated, calling it karma for Shekinah. Others called it privilege. Either way, everyone was talking about her again. Tiny Harris, once cancelled, had somehow rebranded herself as both villain and victim. The perfect viral mix. But peace never lasts long when pain sells. Weeks after the verdict, another leak dropped. This one wasn't about violence. It was about love. A private text thread allegedly between Tiny and Ty surfaced where Tiny wrote, "You broke us when you let her in." His reply read, "You pushed me away first." Those two lines became the new obsession. Fans debated who destroyed who loved harder, who lied better. It was heartbreak turned into public entertainment. Behind all the noise, Tiny was rebuilding. She began filming again, attending events, smiling in photos. But something about her eyes had changed. Colder, wiser, maybe emptier. She was living proof that revenge doesn't always heal. Sometimes it just teaches you how to hide your scars better. She posted quotes about forgiveness, but never mentioned names. When asked about Shekinah, she simply said, "I wish her peace." The comment section went wild. Some called it growth. Others called it shade disguised as grace. Meanwhile, Shekinah's career began to fade. The sympathy wave ended. Brands stopped calling. Interviews dried up. The same internet that built her up started scrolling past her name. In one emotional live, she said, "Everybody used my pain for views, and now they done moved on." Her followers dropped by the thousands. She looked tired, like someone finally realizing that being the victim doesn't come with a lifetime guarantee of relevance. Then one quiet night, Tiny posted a short clip of herself, driving with a caption, "You can't break what's already been broken." It wasn't dramatic. It wasn't offensive, but it went viral anyway. Fans flooded her comments with heart emojis and forgiveness posts. Even her critics admitted she'd survived the storm with style. Whether she planned it or not, Tiny had won the narrative war. But deep down, even her victory felt hollow, because behind every headline was a friendship buried under pride, love, and betrayal. She'd gotten her closure in the eyes of the world, but not in her heart. Sometimes, when she scrolled late at night and saw old pictures of her and Shekinah laughing together, she didn't feel anger. She felt absence. That's the part the cameras never catch. As the months passed, the scandal lost steam, but the tension lingered. They lived in the same city, shared mutual friends, breathed the same gossip-filled air. Every time their names appeared in the same sentence, people whispered. Even if they never spoke again, their story had become folklore. The friendship that defined Atlanta's reality TV era had ended in a courtroom, replayed a million times online, archived forever. By the end of the year, a documentary surfaced, Tiny vs. Shekinah, The Friendship War. It featured interviews, fan theories, and edited montages of the viral clip. Tiny didn't participate, Shekinah did, but she seemed hesitant, like someone reliving trauma for a check. The final scene showed her saying, "Maybe I was wrong for loving people too close." The internet exploded again. Old wounds reopened, but this time, Tiny didn't react. She'd learned that silence wins more battles than shouting ever could. And that's how it ended. Or at least how it looked from the outside. Two women bound by love, broken by betrayal, and immortalized by the internet. The clip still circulates every feed.